Greetings everyone, this is Force Nature coming at you with another session of What's the Difference? In this session we're going to be making a foray into the realm of 2D, and we're going to be looking at two weapons-based neutral heavy fighting games in Samurai Shodown and Granblue Fantasy Versus, and we're going to be looking to answer the simple question of what's the difference? Let's start with some obvious similarities first. They both feature weapons. They are both fought on a 2D plane, and both games have a relatively heavy focus around neutral footsies as opposed to, well, raw Unga-Bunga gameplay. Granblue Fantasy Versus gets a distinction as being an Arxis Works fighting game that has essentially no air dashing. So basically this game just feels like a very neutral focus based fighting game. Likewise, with Samurai Shodown being an SNK fighting game, there's no air dashing and there's no like flying around or anything. It's just you, your neutral ability, your weapon, and maybe your bunny hopping ability. I'm going to start out by saying that Granblue Fantasy Versus has an excellent RPG style quest mode. Essentially, you get a map of the world of Granblue Fantasy, and you get to basically just choose an island, and then you can just choose a mission that you want to tackle. Seeing that this is called RPG mode, naturally you can customize your characters, so you can just like choose like any of the characters that you've unlocked. You can customize their appearance, like their skin color. You can change their weapon. So I mean, like, let's see, other stuff you can do. And this is also another thing from the Granblue Fantasy mobile game. You can also use your apply weapons, and then what you can do is they end up serving as power-ups, which end up boosting both your hit points and your attack power. So if you want to be able to deal with some of the tougher enemies in Granblue Fantasy Versus, then you're going to basically need to apply the proper upgrades and apply the proper elements to be able to hit your opponent's weaknesses. And believe me, you're going to want to exploit enemies' weaknesses whenever you get an opportunity to, or you will get your ass kicked in certain matches. Samurai Shodown features an arcade-style story mode where you select a character and then you get to experience your story while you're fighting random opponents kind of along the way until you end up fighting the super boss at the end. Actually, while we're on the topic of SamSho's super boss, I think her name is Shizuka Goken, I'd just like to say from the bottom of my heart, fuck this bitch. I mean, like, I just kind of hate it when fighting games end up having bosses like this based around like really cheaper, annoying projectiles in what is predominantly a melee-based fighting game. And of course your attacks do jack shit damage to the boss in comparison to the amount of damage you end up doing in a normal battle, for instance. On the bright side, if you whack her enough times, eventually you get to see her naked, and then you get to really pile on the hurt on her. Well, kind of. I'll give you a tip, however. If you perform a weapon flip technique on any time on the boss, then you'll automatically put her into her naked mode, and then you basically get your free damage, which even though you're basically still feels like you're just tickling her. In fact, the weapon flip technique actually saved my ass during this run. I mean, I accessed this during the rage explosion, as you can see here. I ended up performing it, then there was just basically enough health left in order to just destroy the boss after that. So yes, don't forget to use your meter in this boss fight. As a reward for winning this bullshit fight, you get to see an uncorrupted version of the naked chick. Take note that Granblue Fantasy Versus does technically feature a more kind of relatively traditional arcade mode where you basically just you choose your character, and then you actually get to choose your initial opponent, and then you, as you see right here, you get to choose who your next opponent is along with the difficulty. And of course I went with one of the best girls, Cat, right there. And take note that you're eventually going to have to fight this asshole. An obvious difference that I neglected to mention earlier is that Granblue Fantasy Versus features cel-shaded graphics like so, akin from the Guilty Gear Xrd series, whereas Samurai Shodown features full 3D graphics on a 2D plane. Your objective in Granblue Fantasy Versus is to score this. This is a hit confirm. Hit confirms lead to combos. Combos lead to a lot of damage. Or of course, you could just be like a bum like me and just mash 5M or 2M with Best Girl Fairy. Your objective in Samurai Shodown is to control the neutral footsie meta. So that means staying in a comfortable range and like stimming the opponent, poking them, like keeping them out, and basically trying to set up a situation or an opening where you can end up using your kind of stronger attacks like 5Cs, or basically get an opportunity to like run in For throws, I'll let you know in SamSho that throws can be particularly strong. Who am I kidding? I just mashed 5B or 2B like the scrub that I am in SamSho also. As you can guess, scoring a hit confirm on someone whose defense, well, doesn't suck, is probably not going to be that easy, because they can just simply defend and block against everything you're doing. So what that means is that you're going to have to kind of control the neutral. So right now, if they're going to likely block stuff, then you have to use your safe pokes. So what you're doing though is maybe you can try and use like a 5A right here, try and like bait a reaction, even like a 2A or something, or even just like whiff like a 5B from like a safe distance, and then when the opponent ends up when the opponent's whiffing something, then you can try and whiff punish with a stronger move. Once the opponent has like whiffed something big enough or they just left themselves open, then, and you're obviously within range, then you can attempt to go for whiff punish hit confirm right here. So for instance, with something like Fairy's 5C, you could follow up with a 236C right there, and you end up basically allowing this like set up like a potential combo. If you end up doing the 236C for instance too slowly, then it can get blocked like that. And naturally, hit confirms can lead to getting your offensive pressure started on your opponent. Aside from whiff punishment and mid-range poking, you can also go for hit confirms by applying block strings on your opponent's block. What I mean by block strings are strings that you can just chuck out and are safe if you get blocked and can't be punished. You can stop block strings short. Another thing you can do is that from around close range, if you end up poking with a safe poke that you know that the opponent's combo retaliation like a 5L will whiff, what you can actually do is punish the punish attempt. You can't really apply the same kind of block string strategy in SamSho because SamSho, quite frankly, doesn't have block strings. In SamSho, almost everything is incredibly negative on block. So as you can see right here, any sort of like B move, or especially C moves, which would leave you like really negative. Like you see, there's a lot of recoil. Even doing like a simple like a 5A or a 5K end up causing like a bit of recoil. But generally speaking, I mean, the safest moves you can usually do on someone's block will be like an A move or like a K move, also known as like in SamSho as a D move. So, but you're usually your B moves and C moves, like you can't just chuck these out on the opponent's block. You have to use them when you're certain that they're probably gonna hit. So yeah, you can't simply mash on the opponent's block in SamSho, or you can basically get punished for it. As you see, even a simple 5B can be punished pretty easily, even by your opponent's 5B, for instance, if you like end up doing it in close. So in that sense, SamSho can sort of be seen as the anti-anime. The main reason why is because in anime you usually kind of just go in and try and like do some like pressure or something like that with like your normal kind of like A, B, C strings or whatever. However, you can apply a kind of weird mind game if you get something like blocked, for instance, like Charlotte's 5B, and yes, as you can see right there, it's pretty much range safe. If you end up using the technique called a deflect in SamSho, this 236 A plus B, since this is a weapon fighter, yes, there's a deflect. You can actually use this during the block stun of a move that would normally end up being unsafe. And right there, and then you're basically punish the opponent's punish attempt. Also, SamSho's not really very combo focused. For instance, just simply doing right here, just confirm into special cancels. I mean, sometimes that's it. Alright, there are combos in SamSho for those that do favor them. But who needs combos when you've got 5C? Throws in Granblue Fantasy Versus are pretty standard. I mean, you basically just run up to the opponent, press the throw button, which is L plus U. And yes, throw range is not really the longest, you just knock the opponent down and you get your damage. Throw breaks are performed by pressing the throw button right as the opponent attempts to throw. Take note that if you end up doing the throw break like a little late, right at the end, then your character will just fall over and you'll end up taking a little bit of damage. Throws in Samurai Shodown are very dangerous. Although they deal no damage, they come out in 3 frames and they are unbreakable. Throws deal no damage, but they do allow you to get guaranteed follow-ups. If your rage bar is full and flashing, that means that you can throw into your weapon flip super for free. Oh, and throws can be avoided with and punished with a jump C if you're wondering. In Granblue Fantasy Versus, you tech roll by pressing any of the 4 primary attack buttons and just pressing either back to retreat backwards, or you just press down in one of the 4 attack buttons you can be tech roll on the spot. And also, you can also recover in the air if you so desire. Note that you can't tech roll after a hard knockdown or a throw. In SamSho, if you get hit out of the air, you will normally automatically recover. However, take note that any move that does knock down usually does not allow a Ukemi tech roll. However, if you do get knocked down, there are 3 ways that you can recover. You can just recover on the spot, you can perform a forward roll, and you can perform a back roll. In Samurai Shodown, you block by pressing back or down back like the traditional 2D fighter that it is. In Granblue Fantasy Versus, you block with the block button. Yes, that's right folks, there is a block button in a 2D fighter. Alright. There's one other 2D fighter, an NRS fighter that shall remain nameless, that also has a block button, but this is still pretty nuts. I mean, you just simply block by pressing it, and also you can block by just simply pressing back or down back if you so desire, because I know there's a lot of 2D fighter players out there that would basically just block like that instinctually anyway. The reason why this is nuts is that you basically just block cross-ups for free. For instance, if I were to press back, I'd end up getting hit, but with the block button, you basically just block it for free. So essentially, that's the reason why 2D fighters generally don't have block buttons, because you just basically just render cross-ups pointless. In Samurai Shodown, defensive techniques can include spot dodges and deflects. If you deflect a 5C heavy slash, the opponent will be disarmed. Being disarmed sucks in SamSho, and it shows why you don't bring your bare hands to a sword fight. Basically, all you can do are punch and kick based techniques, so basically any of your barehanded techniques. Luckily, if you do press the A button or the light attack button, you can go back to mashing 5B on your opponent in no time. However, there is one instance when you basically will not mind being disarmed if you're able to do this. And then you feel like a complete badass, and now you just reduced Samurai Shodown to basically a fist fighting game. Defensive techniques in Granblue Fantasy Versus can include spot dodges by pressing back and the guard button, and crossovers by pressing forward and the guard button. And of course, you have your godlike guard button. Crossovers can cross up the opponent. Oh, and before I forget, you can also block in the air by pressing the block button or back. In Samurai Shodown, meter is used for one thing: to perform a rage explosion. You can use a rage explosion to be able to escape your opponent's throw combos, so you're using it like a burst. You can only activate Rage Explosion once in the entire match, so use it wisely, generally on the last round. So after you do use your Rage Explosion, you gain access to the Akin Lightning Blade by pressing the A plus B plus C button, and then right there, and then if you hit the opponent, you can do a tremendous amount of damage, and this damage is based on how early you do it. So the more you see that little bar near the bottom, the more that you have, the more damage that you deal. And you see right there, that's a tremendous amount of damage. Don't spam it though, because Akin is incredibly unsafe on block, and it wastes all your meter. Under Rage Explosion, you gain access to your weapon flip technique super, which ends up ending your Rage Explosion meter right away, but yeah, you gain access to that move right away. Normally, weapon flip techniques can generally just be performed when your bar is completely full right there, as you can see right down in the bottom. Just do your 236 B plus C, and then you can get it. You can even do them off some throws like I ended up showing earlier. I mean, you can actually perform it as many times as you want while your bar is full, so if you get your ass kicked enough times in your match, and that bar, your rage bar will get full. Beware that it will eventually wear off. And you can't actually spam these moves because they're usually pretty unsafe on block. And there's this third super move in Samurai Shodown called your Super Special Move, or SSM for short. As you see right here, you don't require any meter to do it, but you can only use it once in the entire match, just like using a Rage Explosion. But when this move does connect, it does a tremendous amount of damage. I mean, you basically just destroy your opponent anytime you hit him with this. Au revoir! Some of these SSMs are particularly nasty. Meter usage is pretty simple in Granblue Fantasy Versus. You basically use it for supers, your Skybound arts. Skybound arts are performed by doing 236, 236H, and you get your normal super when you have a 100% meter. But if you have 100% meter and you got your ass kicked enough that your health is down to like 25%, then you can perform what's called a Super Skybound Art, which is an SSBA. You perform this with 236, 236U. And you get this gigantic super move right here, similar to Samurai Shodown's SSM. Oh, and Fairy has 3 Skybound arts. Unique to Granblue Fantasy Versus, moves have cooldowns. So if you see near the top right there, when you use a special move, especially if you use an EX version, you end up having this long cooldown and then the move won't work until it comes out. As you also see, there's also a way how you can use what's called the skill button. So if you just press one direction in the skill button, then it's basically a one button, like you can get like a one button special move. So you press the direction plus it and you can do the move. But as you see, when you use this mode, you get that super extended cooldown on it, akin to like if you were to do like an EX version of a move, you get the longer cooldown. I'll just say straight up, don't bother using the simple commands for most characters. Just use a technical command. So just use like either your L version or your M version, and you notice that these moves have fast cooldowns to the point that the cooldown almost feels like a non-factor. Generally, just the H version or the EX version tends to have the long cooldown, so just keep that in mind. But sometimes the EX version has invincibility attached to it. SamSho has a decent tutorial that does a solid job at getting you up to speed with the mechanics and how SamSho plays in general. Granblue Fantasy Versus has an excellent tutorial mode called Mission Trading, which ends up trading stuff on like combos, blocking, like getting crossed up, and there's also there's special move practice for each character. There's combo practice for each character in the form of like think of it as like combo challenges, and there's matchup practice for certain moves that teach you how to punish certain characters' moves. And I'll let you know, this one right here with Matera is going to drive you nuts. Well, at least you can get crossover practice. Granblue Fantasy Versus roster currently has 16 characters, including numerous DLC characters. Samurai Shodown currently has 24 characters, including numerous DLC characters. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this new series in the comments down below. Anyways, if you liked this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy fighting game content. I also would like to say that this video is endorsed by Smart Esports and Trollcoin. And also, I'd like to take this moment to thank my premium top tier fighters for their continued support, which I do appreciate. If you'd like to become a premium top tier fighter, click on the Patreon link down below. Anyways, this is footsies signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on What's the Difference?
Believe in victory. Battle 1. Engage!
Walk back down! GG! Here!